Hello, everyone. This is Contessa Tate, and it is Monday, and this is Divine Sessions. I'm really excited because I'm talking about a topic that became so near and dear to me, and that's not only walking in my purpose and walking in my alignment, but it's also profiting from my God-given gifts. And one thing that I love talking about profit is that people always assume we're speaking about money. And yes, we need money, but there's also another thing you can profit, and that's fulfillment. That's freedom. Freedom with your time, freedom with your mind, freedom with the decision to do what you want and do what burns in your soul. So tonight, I'm going to present you a passion to profit presentation. And I'm really praying that it really encourages you to not only start in alignment to your purpose, but let's also make a profit. So let's go ahead and tune into the screen and let's get into the presentation. Welcome to Divine Sessions, How to Profit from Your Passion. This is a quick reality check. I want you to understand that you are given a gift by God, and that gift is not just for you to sit with. It's for you to share. It's for you to lend to others. It's to make an impact in the world. And I believe that a lot of people get to this place where they don't believe they have a purpose. They don't believe that they have anything worth giving to others. And some people have low self-esteem and don't understand that they were meant to be alive. And so with this reality check, I want you to understand that when you understand and walk in your alignment and you walk in your purpose, then you will see that life becomes way more fulfilling. So when we speak about profiting, again, I want you to think about this idea that you are making a change in someone else's life and yours. Another thing I want you to understand is that that one thing that you love doing, that one thing that you love to do, whether you were getting paid or not, that most likely is your purpose. We all have this inkling to do something. And a lot of us don't know what to do with that passion. And I'm here to tell you how to organize that passion so that you can set a standard for how people treat you, how people are attracted to you, and how you treat others as you're functioning in your gift. I put the scripture here, your gift will make room for you. And that is to remind you that you don't have to be anyone else but authentically yourself. A lot of times people admire who they see on social media, and they admire the big stages and the speaking engagements that some of us are blessed to do. And instead of congratulating and instead of finding that individual admirable, there's a place of envy that people rest in. And that's simply because they have not connected with their purpose. Because if you connect with your purpose, one thing that you know to do is celebrate when you see somebody else walking in their purpose. And so before we even get to a place of profit, we first have to remind you and awaken something inside of you to let you know that you matter. I can't sell you anything and I can't give you any gifts if I first don't buy the gift that's what's inside of me. And that's my purpose. And so here I want you to understand that connecting to your purpose is bigger than you. And I want you to understand that you're not alive just for the sake of taking up space. You're alive because you have a purpose. Common passion killers, the fear of failure. A lot of us are afraid to fail. And do you know that the people who profit the most love failing? Because the idea of failure means that you have to go back to the drawing board and reconstruct what did not work. This is your chance to Look at the puzzle pieces and figure out what pieces need to be solved, which puzzle pieces need to be thrown away, what tools do we need to gather. This allows you to get back into a place of innovation. So don't be afraid to fail. Failure teaches you things. It teaches you what systems need to be tweaked so that you can be better. So do not be afraid to fail. Lack of direction. Some people are aimlessly walking forward in something that they don't even understand. And the goal is to have direction. Given that we're talking about God and bringing up our faith and spiritual influences, we read our Bible, we may fellowship in a community, or we may spend our personal time in meditation. And that's when we get this divine download. It's when we're connected to our power source that we get this sense of direction, that we get this yearning pull in a particular direction that, after being obedient to that pull, becomes profitable, and we start to see the fruits of the labor that we planted as we walk in that direction. But first, you have to be connected to your power source. So you have to come to an understanding of, well, who am I connected to? Where do I pull my influences from? And then you need to dig deep into that power and you will find direction. Another passion killer is trying to do it all alone. We are not meant to do this alone. That's why I preach community. I push community because we need each other. You can only do so much by yourself. You need a brother or sister that you can rely on, and you need them just as much as they need you. Last but not least, I don't know where to start. This goes from a place of failure because some people think that you need to know where to start in order to be successful. But do you know that as you're walking in your purpose, there is a consistent forward movement? And sometimes you don't know where you're going, but you figure it out as you move in motion. So don't be worried about, I don't know where I'm going. That's the joy in movement. You're going to figure it out as you go. One of the favorite things I love to say is that I'm going to build this airplane while it's in the air. That again speaks to innovation, drive, and passion, and creativity, and coming up with an idea that one day you get to see the full fruition of it. And so I just encourage you to not follow these common passion killers and really embrace the journey of walking in your purpose. Profit comes with alignment. You don't need to hustle. You don't need to um, follow anyone else and mimic other people. You have to get to a place where you get a clear understanding of where you go and create a strategy. This comes from getting classes, booking coaching, talking to someone who is going in the direction that you want to, or maybe someone has a particular skill that you want to learn from. You need to connect with them so that you can become very clear about your strategy, and then so that you can move forward in it. So, this is the portion where, again, I'm going to really speak to tutoring or coaching or some form of consulting. When you're with a coach or a consultant, what they help you do is to strategize. They help you to identify your goals, where are you going, where are some gray areas that we can move forward in, and then let's create a strategy. And the strategy is what's going to allow you to stay within a parameter can learn from, continue to invest in, and then that is the boundaries of where you're going to see your profit. It's within the plan and the strategy. So you want to see profits as you move forward in your purpose. But in order to do that, you have to align yourself with the right individuals and network that's going to continue to foster you walking in your purpose and seeing a profit. And the other bullet point says divine alignment equals flow, focus, and fulfillment. Again, we want to make sure that all the stars align in our favor. We have to be in the right environments in our minds, bodies, spirit, and in our network. We have to make sure that everything is in alignment so that we can move forward in our purpose and see the fruits of our labor. My story. I wrote my story in this bullet point form to prove a point that the summation of all your experiences and of all your titles is what's going to influence your purpose and your passion. Some people grew up wanting to be a firefighter because they experienced a house burning down. Or maybe some people grew up and wanted to be a therapist because in their time of need, they had a really good therapist and now they too want to be a therapist. Maybe somebody was a child and they hated how their teacher taught them, and that was the driving force for them to become the best teacher in the world. All of our experiences and all the titles that we have held and currently hold in our life, when added together, creates us. And that's what makes us unique to any industry that we find ourselves in. Whether you're in the education and coaching industry, whether you're in the marketing industry, music and entertainment industry, whatever industry you find yourself in, your experiences make you unique. And in your experiences and the titles that you've held in the past and the ones that you hold today, that is what's going to fuel your passion and your purpose. And then when you tap into that passion, when you tap into that purpose, you will learn how to now monetize it. One thing that I do want to point out is that when I learned who I was, when I finally grasped who I was meant to be, that's when I stopped playing small. And it's when I stopped playing small that I started to see profit in the way I moved in my purpose. So, what are the 3 steps to profit from your passion? Number one, you have to identify your gift. You have to know, what do I do for people? What do people naturally come to me for? What is something that I'm so gifted at that people wouldn't mind paying me for it? Number two, package your value. We are not doing anything for free. And I am saying that very boldly because I understand burnout. I understand overgiving to the point of exhaustion. I understand serving to the point of being bitter that people are using me. No, package your value. Create a product or a service or an experience that people can benefit from when you place it in front of them, which goes into the third point. Position yourself for profits. Where's your ideal customer? Are they online, in person? What network do you need to belong to so that your ideal customer can be attracted to what you have to offer? So let's run through this again. Identify your gifts because that's the thing you're going to sell. Number two, package that gift, present value, have proper pricing, and then position it in front of your ideal clients. The people who want to buy from you will buy from you. And the way we're going to see profit is you have to place your valuable product or service in front of people who are waiting to buy. Making profit. Now, again, I said in the beginning of my video, profit is more than money. Profit is about seeing the fruits of your labor. It's about seeing an exchange for something you put work into. It's about seeing the results of something that you've invested in. So if you have invested in people and you give them value, you will see the result of that. The result of that is your income is going to increase. The result of that is you're going to be invited into locations that only your gift opened doors to. In order to profit from your gift, you have to position yourself, be very clear about what you offer, and you have to be consistent. So while we're speaking about profit, we also have to speak about divine alignment. If you are not reading the books, doing the physical labor, doing the mental labor, learning, continuing to grow, you cannot walk in alignment in your purpose. Some people get really lazy and think that, oh, I'm just gifted. I can just, take one aspect of my passion and just expect people to buy. No, you have to invest in yourself. Invest in yourself by reading, meditating, praying, paying for coaching, paying for consultation. Are you working out? Are you stretching? Are you drinking water? How are you fueling your mind, body, and spirit so that you can walk in alignment, so that you actually have something valuable to offer other people? When you invest in yourself like that and you invest in your passion and you invest in your gifts like that, you will see a profit. I love this bullet point right here. It says profit is about peace, provision, and walking fully in your calling. It feels so freeing to do what you know you've been called to do. Have you ever been in an office that you knew you outgrew? Have you ever been around people that you knew, these people are not my cup of tea? Why am I here? But when you walk in divine alignment, everything falls into place. You just naturally flow because you were meant to be there. You were meant to do that thing that you've unlocked. Something on the inside of you becomes alive and sparks because you're finally in alignment to your purpose. So, profit is more than money. And money is important, but I also want to find value in your peace of mind, knowing that you are authentically who you're supposed to be. Provision, knowing that ways are going to be presented right in front of you to walk in authority and where you're supposed to go. And that is something you can't pay for all the time. That peace and provision, that clarity, sometimes you can't even pay for that. It just comes as you're obedient to your purpose. New prospects. A lot of people get tripped up about a prospect or a client. They feel like they have to beg and convince you. I don't have to convince no one who's looking for me. And that's why investing in yourself, walking authentically in who you're supposed to be, and positioning yourself in front of your ideal clients, you will never have to chase. You will attract. And at first, when I heard people speak like this, I said, that is so weird. How am I attracting what? And then I got it. When I'm naturally being myself, anyone who knows me can testate. Anyone who's around me has always either testified or shared to me that after being around me, they feel inspired, they feel encouraged, they feel like they can take on the world after speaking with me. And after getting that feedback so many times, I had to start believing it. And not only did I have to believe that's the value that I offered, I then had to invest. So I went and got my degrees in therapy and psychology. I started to invest in my spiritual well-being. I started to invest in going to the gym and being active. And yes, we still working on losing that weight, but there's also something in just moving your body. You're investing in the flow of your gifts. I started to network. I started to create. I started to be around creators. I started to invest in my mind. I started to invest in my knowledge. I invested by reading my Bible. I invested in taking classes. I also became a licensed minister. I started to invest in who I naturally was. And then what happened is I started to continue to attract people who were looking for the value that was oozing out of my spirit. And as I continued to attract these individuals, I've learned how to profit. Now, this is the business portion of our talk. We have to talk about money because without money, you don't have a business. And ultimately, when you're profiting off of your passion, you are starting a business. This is a business transaction. And what I learned is that when people are attracted and are looking for your product, they have no problem parting ways with their money to have the value that they see inside of you. And so, one thing that I had to learn was to not only continue to show value, I had to be very clear about what I had to offer. And I had to be very clear about how much I'm going to charge for the experience that I'm providing, or the skills or the knowledge that I'm providing. And I learned that as I began to walk in that way, I never had to chase anyone for my money. Now, you're going to get outliers. Don't get me wrong. That's the name of business, is having people who don't want to pay or chargebacks. And I'm pretty sure if you watched online about people in business, that they've experienced these customers who charge back and want a refund. And that's them. But if you have your system correctly in order, you don't have to worry about attracting those outlier clients that never were meant for you. You would have more experiences with clients who are in alignment with your value than not. And so we're going to spend the majority of our time on the clients that we attract who are appropriate for us. And we're going to have systems and boundaries in place for the clients we attract that weren't meant for us. But ultimately, if you attract your ideal customer, you don't have to worry about, is my prices too high? Are they going to like what I have? Your clients will tell you if your systems need to be changed, if your packaging needs to be reorganized. Your true clients will let you know feedback that you need to use to make changes in your business. But I really want to speak to your pricing, because some people are afraid to ask for big numbers. I remember when I made my first $10,000 without I mean, it was just easy. Like, I made my first $10,000 months when I really began to exercise the gift of my price is my price. And what I realized is that because I showed that I had value, my customer had no problem paying me, and I made my money. And so I want to just embed this inside of you, that all the investment that you paid into yourself, why wouldn't you charge the prices that you need to be able to profit off of all the investment that you put in you, your gift, and your business? And I need you to hear that loud and clear. Now, if you have a raggedy business, you're not moving in integrity, and you're not moving in alignment. You're a liar, and you're cheating, and you're scamming. I'm not speaking to those individuals. I'm speaking to people who understand their purpose. They've invested in their purpose, and they provide value. Do not be afraid to charge what you need to charge, because that is a return on an investment in you, in your practice, in your skill set, in the way you serve. Do not feel afraid to charge what you charge. Lastly, on number 3, nurture your relationship with your clients. It's really important that you have great customer service. We're serving. When you walk in alignment, you're walking in fulfillment, you are serving others, you are giving value, you have impact. You impact people's lives, you change atmospheres. You are serving. And so, as you're providing good customer service, you have to make it clear on how people can buy from you, how people can ask you questions. You have to keep in clear communication with your clients. How are you keeping in communication with your clients? Is it online? Is it on social media? Is it using email marketing? Do you have a website? Do you have a blog? Do you have a podcast? What are the ways in which you are continuously talking to your ideal audience? And that is the systems you want to have in place. Understanding what you have to offer, creating a pricing that aligns with your offer, and then making sure you have a creative way and a clear way for people to purchase. But then you have to keep in communication with those who purchase from you. But what about the people who didn't purchase from you yet? You still have to be in communication with them as well, because there's some people who need to learn of you and fill you out before they part ways with their money, or part ways with their network, or part ways with what they want to invest in you. And so you have to keep them engaged. And again, I just named a few. podcast, social media, email marketing. Whenever you go on any of my sites, there's a click here, subscribe there, follow me here, book a discovery call. How are you communicating with your audience and nurturing that relationship? Passion. It's the spark that God planted inside of you. It's the thing that stirs your soul, energizes your spirit, and brings you back to life when you've poured out everything for everyone else. This is that divine calling that even when you get frustrated, you can't get away from this activity. Whatever it is that you've been called to do, you can't throw it away. Even on your bad day, even on a day where you say, I would never do that activity. I would never use myself in that way again. And you find yourself going right back to it because it's your purpose. It's a passion of yours. Even when it drains you, even when you're tired, you still find a way to get back and move in that function. That's a passion. But what happens when you have passion? You need to funnel it into a purpose. A purpose is that thing that allows you to walk in a planned direction. So you have the drive, right? That's the passion. But then the purpose is, well, what is it that you're doing? The purpose is, okay, now what? So here I have a few things for food for thought. Purpose gives your gift direction. It answers the question, who is this for? When you walk in your purpose, what are you doing? Are you helping people lose weight? Are you helping people make money? Are you helping families stay together? What is it that you're doing to serve others? And that is your purpose. Here it says your gift isn't just about money, it's about impact. Remember, what value do you provide? This is very important because remember, this is the formula to profit. You have to have a drive, you have to have a reason. You have to have a what is it that you're doing, right? You have to have an ability to see results after walking in your planned purpose. And so here we talk about profit is about getting paid and seeing the fruits of your labor. And the reason why I use the word and is because some people want to just do everything for free, but baby, we live in a very expensive environment. And I don't believe in being broke. I understand hard times. I understand struggle, but what I'm not going to do is rest in lacking what I need. Now, did I say that everybody will have this excessive, abundant overflow of things? We're all going to have different levels of what abundance looks like to us. But the point is, you will not lack. You should not be lacking. God tells us that He's going to provide all of our needs, and our needs are all on different levels. But the point is, you shouldn't be lacking. So I'm going to use and because I'm not going to be broke, but I also understand that I know it's bigger than money. But I want to have a profit that is financial and impactful. So, real profit shows up in finances, freedom, fulfillment, and fruitfulness. I don't want to just be a hustler. Hustlers, you don't want to just move so quick that you feel like, what am I doing this for? Because you don't see a profit. You want to be free, free with your time. Freedom is knowing that I am not moved by anyone's opinion. I'm not moved by anyone's judgment. I'm not confined or I'm not bound up. It means I literally can move without a border around me. It means that I'm boundaryless. That means I literally can flow in who I'm meant to be. And as you walk in that, you can get some money. As you walk that free and walk in your alignment, you can make some money. And I am not afraid to talk about money. Money is not a bad thing. And I'm teaching you how to invest in your mind, body, and spirit, invest in your purpose and cultivate your passion, and then figuring out how to make a profit from it. Now, this is my favorite part of talking about money, and that is the call to action. You have to take everything we talked about today and you have to make a decision. And I have two offers for you today. Number one, I would like to invite you to join the inner circles of the Divine and Aligned Collective. This is a specific network for women who want to come together and learn how to look at their life holistically. Just like I said, that, we're not only making money, but we're also walking in our purpose. Sometimes you have to take it slow. We have to look at our mental health. We have to look at our finances. We have to look at our physical health. We have to look at our relationships. Some of us got trauma. Some people have things that are hindering them walking in their fullness, walking in their divine purpose. So before we can even talk about making money, you need to find yourself. And by trade, I am a therapist. So this is a life coaching group that allows you to look at all areas of your life so that you can be made whole. So go ahead and subscribe right here at the URL. And there's also going to be an invitation to join the inner circle. So there's two levels to the Divine and Aligned Collective, and that's being a part of our email subscription. That's where I'm communicating with you. I'm letting you know this is what we have going on. I'm also putting little words of encouragement. I'm also giving you gems, but I'm also going to invite you to come even further in our collective group, and that's the life coaching. That's the private inner group where we are going to be addressing all areas of your life. So go ahead and click the subscription. Make sure you are in our email communication chains, and do not ignore the invitation to join our inner circle. The second offer is something that's near and dear to me, and that is the 10K 30-day push. This is something that I birthed out of have you ever just walked so hard in your purpose that it almost scared you? I mean, it was this turning point during the pandemic where I said, enough is enough. I need to walk in my purpose unapologetically. And when I did it, it scared me. I did it so well, it scared me. And I never turned back from that. I really started to walk in my divine alignment as a boss, okay? I really just became this force that you didn't want to play with, right? And I really just walked in my power as a businesswoman. I remember gifting myself for my birthday. I want to say maybe my 25th or 26th birthday. I gifted myself registering my LLC, and I went into business as a birthday gift to myself because I just knew I was walking in my purpose and I was going to see profit, and I did just that. Um, I remember making over $30,000 in a few months, and I was like, wow, some people only make $30,000 in a year, and I made this in months. So it really encouraged me that I knew how to profit from my passions. And then when I started getting contracts and partnerships, I just said, you know what, God, thank you. Thank you for not only showing me my purpose and giving me the tools and empowering me, but also thank you for the gift of encouragement that as I walk in my purpose, I'm going to see the fruits of my labor. And I was able to really support my kids, my husband, my loved ones, because I walk in my divine alignment. So if you're ready to make you some money, and if you are ready to build your business, structure it, if you're ready to think, create, and launch your money making idea, you need to go to 10k30daypush.com and go ahead and go to my shop. You can look at all the tools and trainings that you need to self-paced learn, or you could sign up for my push that's going to be going on in July. And this is a small core cohort. It's an intensive coaching program for 30 days where I'm working with you hands-on on how to think, create, and launch your money-making idea. It's not for the faint of heart, and I make that very clear. I'm going to be digging into you. I want you to have an idea and then see, how am I going to make money from this? And I already put this in my slide. You need a coach. You need a consultant. You need someone who already knows the fundamentals. You need to know someone who can help hold your hand so that you can replicate something that they've already successfully done. There's times where people are like, Tessa, what do you do? You do so much. How are you able to move here, move there? You move so freely. You just flow in and out of spaces. And that's because I have systems in place that allow me to move free. If I don't have systems in place that allows me to move free, then I'm not walking in my purpose. Again, that speaks to the slide where I said that walking in your purpose is not just about making money. It's about fulfillment. It's about freedom. I'm free. You don't know where I'm coming or going, but you're going to see me somehow. You see me either out of the country, you might see me at a board meeting, you might even see me in Vegas randomly. And that's because I'm free. I don't need to make all the money in the world. I want to be free. And I'm offering you freedom today. There's no freedom when you have a financial burden. You can't be free like that. It doesn't feel good. You have this stress on your relationships suffer, your relationship with yourself suffers because you are financially in a bind. When you're not walking in your purpose, you feel stuck. You don't feel motivated. You don't feel innovative. You can't relate to others positively because you don't even feel positive about your life. I am free because of the investment that I have in my life. Not only is it God's grace, but it's also the investment that I put in my life. It's the systems that I've created so that I have financial freedom. And then it's also me walking in my purpose to where the people around me feel my gifts as I pour into them. And in return, I either get money or I'm invited into places that continue to reinforce and pour into me, or I continue to feel investments that continue to allow me to move forward in my purpose. And I want the same process for you. Will you accept the call to either join the Divine and Aligned Collective for women who want a life coaching experience where you can address all areas of your life, including finance? Or would you join the 10K 30-day push where you're going to work in an intensive coaching program where you can start to really make some money in your business? You got two choices. I want to thank you for your time for this divine session. Again, divine session is just such a beautiful opportunity for me to have guests share this platform so we can continue to talk about gems and little nuggets that's going to continue to help you invest in yourself. And again, I don't take it lightly that you spent your time with me, and I want to make sure that you set your clocks for the next time that I do my divine alignments and my divine sessions. And that's every single Monday at 7 p.m. PST time. And I want you to go ahead and enjoy your evening. Until next time, y'all be blessed.